Thank you for watching and listening to Light Up Vishwa. I hope you have subscribed to the channel. These are the clips from various interviews, so I hope you will enjoy these, and I will encourage you to go and watch or listen to the complete episodes. So I have Jacob in our studios today. Hi, Jacob.
Hello. So my name's Jacob Emmanuel Jones. That's my full
Yeah.
name. I'm actually named after my father, so I'm a junior.
Okay. Jacob Jones Jr.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Born and raised in Boston, in the inner cities of Boston. Did most of my schooling from public school to even starting college in Boston. I recently graduated from Gordon College with a major in Christian ministries, concentration in urban ministries. And currently I'm pursuing a master's in divinity at Gordon Conwell. And I'm hoping to really just be in urban areas and working with the church, but working with the community as well. And trying to make like a strong connection with the church and urban communities.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. About how do you define parenting?
Well, I guess one way I would define it is from the perspective of a child.
Okay.
Desiring nurture, protection, and love or comfort. And so, in one way I would define parents as somebody who protects and guards or guides their children while loving them at the same time. Well, my mother, she's been a very strong person, but my mother, she's basically tried to work really hard to support. I have 4 siblings as well, to support us and keep us in an environment where we're fed, where we're schooled.
Was she a loving mother?
I would say so.
Is she tough?
She had to be. She had 4 children.
She had to be. Don't
children.
rationalize her. Don't protect her. Well, you should. No, I'm just kidding. So she's a good role model for you?
I would say so. Sometimes I'm emotionally unavailable with people, and it's not healthy, I think maybe about 10 years ago I started to try to express myself, and it's still hard to do that, especially for me, watching the media and the idea is men don't cry or men don't express themselves. And when I saw the text, like tears came to my eyes because it really affected me. I thought I was like really hard on him. And I didn't know, he's about 10 years of age. And my sister's a single parent. And so I was almost like the tough uncle, So I was talking to somebody and a colleague at school, and tears started coming down my eyes once I'm reading the text. And I felt embarrassed because it was just random. I just started crying, not crying, but like tears coming down my eyes because I was affected by the text. And I try to balance, okay, this is normal, this is natural, versus I can't show emotions in public.
That's very common. We say sorry for everything in America, so I don't know. Okay, why do we say so much this word sorry on everything? Even if you're crying, you're sorry, right?
Right.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry? See?
Yeah. It's sort of a combination of both.
Okay.
And not trying to be political, but I do believe in the idea that it takes a village to raise a child, And so in that sense, it's not just the parents. At the same time, it is the parents' major responsibility, if you will, because it took them to actually make it, if you will, or procreate, if you will. And so I do think primarily both parents, and if the parents aren't around, maybe potentially grandparents or the uncles or the aunts, secondary, the godparents, it's important for them to be around and for that child or children to constantly see them and a level of trust grow between the child and the parent. Because if not, you can see the negative effects of that in a child's life. Well, my mother, she's always, just tried to pitch in and with a helping hand, and I appreciate that. Well, since my parents got divorced at a young age, it made me say, at a young age, how can I maintain a healthy relationship, right? And so, I look at stats a lot. I read a lot of marital counseling and things of that nature. I know that when it comes to divorce, money, finances, and communication are the 2 highest reasons for divorce. And so I think, and I'm nowhere to in a state to give marital counseling, but in terms of the information I looked at, it's important to communicate before, during, before marriage and relationship, like strong communication. I am trying to learn to communicate well. There was this book called, I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's The 5 Languages of Love. The author's his last name is Chapman, but the idea is that there's 5 ways to express love. There's physical touch, there's words of affirmation, quality time. There's 2 more, but the idea is that when you engage with your partner, that you are able to know their love language. For instance, if your love language was gifts, and I'm always affirming you, you might feel less love, and sometimes that's a point of conflict in marriages. Premarital counseling is important, at least in my faith. That's something that that's important, and I will do and plan to do. And as a Protestant, there's multiple denominations within it. Currently, I'm at a non-denominational church. I'll try to speak general and then throw in some personal things. But so fasting is really abstaining or going without, whether it can be food or something. Food, at least in the New Testament, 2 things that they point out is food and sex for married couples.
Are we with God or without God?
Right.
How do you take that?
So it's weird. There's a variety of ways in which God is present. So he's and from a Christian faith, but he's omnipresent. He's everywhere, right?
Okay. Any message of hope?
I think that the world can seem scary if you look at the news and the media and look at what's going on. But I hope that people can believe that they can make change. I do believe one day we will get it right.
Okay.
It might not be in my lifetime, might not be now, but I do want to fight for that and fight towards that.
What lights you up? My last question.
Honestly, just being with people and just socializing with people.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you for watching Light Up with Shwa. And I hope you enjoyed our conversation. And stay tuned for more episodes on Light Up with Shwa. Thank you. Stop. Please don't go away yet. There is another clip coming up after this with Margaret Bullitt-Jonas, and you can go and watch or listen to the complete episode with Jacob or Margaret on the website or my channel. Thank you. Greetings and Assalamu Alaikum. You're watching Light Up with Shwa. I'm your host. I hope you have already subscribed to my channel, lightupwithshwa.com. So I have my very special guest today. Her name is Margaret, and she will introduce herself and we'll go from there. Hi, Margaret.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So please, could you introduce yourself?
My name is Margaret Bullitt-Jonas. I am an Episcopal priest and a retreat leader and a climate activist. And my job title is Missioner for Creation Care for the Episcopal Diocese of Western Massachusetts and also for the Massachusetts Conference of the United Church of Christ.
Oh, wow.
So it's a big title. It's an ecumenical job.
Okay.
5 years ago, I was feeling increasingly alarmed about the state of climate change in particular, and in general how we are treating Mother Earth.
Okay.
So I went to my beloved bishop, Doug Fisher, and asked if perhaps they could create a position for me in the diocese. And he's a wonderful man, a real leader on climate. He said, if we can find the money, let's do it. And just then, a member of the diocese was coming forward who had just sold his stock in pipelines and wanted to donate the funds to the diocese to fund something to do with addressing the climate crisis. And that became the initial seed money for my job. So I've been doing this for 5 years.
So this really says like the intentions, how your intentions were spread out in the universe and somebody heard it.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Yeah.
And you got
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
funding and you went on from there. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, all right. So how do you want to talk more about your work, or I think, do you want to mention your website?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I launched a website 5 years ago called revivingcreation.org, and I put my sermons and articles and blog posts up there, and I've written 3 books, and so information and my event schedule, all of that is at revivingcreation.org.
So yeah, we will put the link down for
Thank
people
you.
to visit and all.
And the last book is called Joy of Heaven to Earth Come Down, which is just a little tiny book of meditations about our relationship with the natural world and how God comes to us through the natural world and how we in turn can be healers of the natural world.
Excellent. Thank you.
I see caring for the earth as part of our, I see it as a spiritual and an ethical issue. It's often in the dominant culture, it's seen, we talk about climate change in political terms or in terms of science or economics. My perspective is more coming from a place of spirituality and morality, I would say, of believing that as human beings we were sent here to be a blessing on the earth, and we have in many ways gotten lost. God has given us the earth, has given human beings the earth to do whatever they want with. And I think that's a complete misunderstanding of what Christianity is about.
Because, sorry to cut you, like natives, let's forget about everybody and talk about Native Americans. Like, I think they have been the closest and the most intimate and the caretakers of the Mother Earth, right?
Yes.
And actually they were doing fine, and they respect the earth and the creation, I think, more than anyone that I have understood.
Yes.
Now we all do, of course, but then, taking the history into account and also, without going into too much detail at this moment.
No, I agree, but we have a great deal to learn from our Native brothers and sisters.
Yes.
I went out to Standing Rock in December 2016 when Chief Arval Looking Horse was calling on faith leaders of all kinds to come stand with him and in the fight against that pipeline.
Yes.
And I had the privilege of, I think it was last October 2017, of being part of a ceremony here in Western Massachusetts, actually at the Agape community.
Yeah.
A lot of Native Americans came for St. Francis Day, including Chief Arval Looking Horse, and I helped to write and to lead a Christian ceremony of repentance for the Doctrine of Discovery, which is the doctrine back in the 15th century, which gave basically license to Christians to exploit Native American peoples and territories. So we did a whole service of repenting and burning the Doctrine of Discovery and burying it under a tree. So I feel there's work that Christians have to do to repent very publicly, and we also have such wonderful, I believe, gifts to offer, as does every faith tradition, to say, let's dig into the riches of our respective traditions and find what is the wisdom that we can bring forward so that we can save life on earth.
That's very important. Thank you. Do you think that Mother Earth or the earth also takes care of itself if we don't or do? It just came up. I don't know if you want to answer that question.
One thing I used to frame it when I would go around, I travel around preaching and talking and leading retreats about we need to care for the earth. And I've tended to frame it as it's our job to save the earth. And lately I've been trying to focus much more on the mutuality of it. The more we, to begin the other way, the more we receive healing from the earth, allow just the way people feel better when they go outside and walk near trees or see a stretch of a lake or a mountain. The more we receive that healing from Mother Earth, the more then we feel strengthened and empowered to, in turn, serve her. But the whole archetype of mother is very important to me in my prayer life, in my literal motherhood.
I guess we have to have another session with you because we haven't even touched on many of the questions yet.
And as a human being, I very consciously draw from my sense of a divine mother. It speaks about being the mother of each moment. That if we live with conscious awareness, we are intending to be the mother of each moment, which to me says something about approaching each moment with the attention and the tenderness the firmness of a good mother.
Okay. Well, we shall be talking to Margaret again. I would like to end our first session, and please stay tuned for the second part of our interview with Margaret. Thank you. You were watching or listening to Light Up with Shwa. These were the clips from various interviews, so I would encourage you to go and watch or listen to the complete interviews on Light Up with Shwa. Thank you.